Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming today. I
Hey,
don't
Britt.
know. Hello, my friend. Looking good.
We're trying here. We're trying on a Tuesday afternoon.
A little jazzy for you guys, right?
Just for y'all.
All right. All right, we're going to get started. I thank you guys so much for coming today. We are so appreciative of you guys. I'm Britt. I'm the community manager here at Trusted. And for those of you all who don't know, Trusted is a travel nurse company who places travel nurses in all 50 states, but we also have a wealth of career resources from our blog to our live events like this, and even our CEU tracker and various things that we'll probably mention throughout our time together today. But yeah, if you guys need an assignment, you guys just let us know. Just a few housekeeping things for those of you all who have never attended an event. I did place some notes up here on the general area. It pinned it at the top just for you guys in case you are arriving a little bit later. For the general area, you guys can answer questions here. You guys can also talk to each other and just network and get to know each other in the general questions, or even just comments on throughout the presentation. The Q&A portion is just how you guys see it. Someone's already in there, which is great. So that's where you will put your questions, and we'll get to those later on in the presentation. If you guys have any questions or specifically want to DM me, you all are welcome to. If you are having any audio or visual issues, also you can DM me or you can write in the general chat and I'll try to help you troubleshoot those. Just for troubleshooting purposes, sometimes people have a better time using Chrome. So if you're using regular, what is it called? The one with the S. I can't think of it.
Sorry.
Safari. There we go, guys. It's Tuesday. You guys got to be careful with me today. If you use Safari, a lot of times Chrome works better. So we do vote for that, as well as trying to test your audio and visual before you enter in. And if you need to refresh, come back in, don't worry. As well as if you miss anything, we will actually be sending the recording out to you guys right after the actual live event. So for the people who are working 7 right now, we got you guys covered, okay? So yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. All right, so today we're gonna introduce ourselves again. I have the lovely Catherine with me today. We're also gonna talk about how Trusted's different, and then also how Trusted works in quick 5 easy steps, and then introduce you to a little bit about your care team and your support here at Trusted, as well as the most important part, which you guys are here for, is the Q&A section. All right. So a question I asked you guys in the chat are, have you guys traveled before? Have you been a travel nurse? Are you on your first assignment, your third, your seventh? What is it looking like out there? Oh, we got one that says, no, you want to travel. That's good. We're so excited that you're here with us today. All right. So to introduce ourselves, I'm actually Britt. Oh, fourth. I love that. I'm actually Britt. I travel nurse for 5 years. I was a nurse for 8. So I am now the community manager here at Trusted, but I know everything you guys are feeling. I know all the questions. I had them too. So don't worry, you guys are in the right place today. And then the lovely Catherine is here with us today.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm a clinical success partner here at Trusted, also a nurse. I traveled for 3 years. And yeah, I think it's the most normal thing ever to have all the questions when you start and as you keep going. Like the questions don't really stop. So we're here for it.
I love it. All right. So how is Trusted different? Trusted is different because we are super upfront from the jump. We don't try and, snafu you guys in the end and take things away or add things. We give you everything up front with our matches so that you don't have any surprises later. That means that everything that you see on our platform is what you get. We're not going to entice you with something and then throw something else back out there. And then just like we also said earlier, we're all nurses. A lot of us in the company are nurses. So whether it be your clinical success partner or even your nurse advocate, we also have some OCs. as well. We are all sprinkled out throughout the company, that to understand that, we get you guys, okay? We're not trying to, entice you to travel and make it difficult or anything like that. We want you guys to understand that we've been there, we get it, and we're real nurses too, okay? We are not recruiter based. So that's also a different thing about Trusted. If you hear about our nurse advocates, they're actually there to just advocate for you guys. Just like we do in the hospital where we advocate for our patients, our nurse advocates are advocating for you. So we are not commission led. We do not have a recruiter based model. So that's also a huge difference that we are, as well as just peace of mind, transparency and peace of mind. We give you health and wellness benefits on day one. We also have an online community in the Modern Nurse on Facebook. So ask to join, I'll let you guys in. And also a care team, like I said before, is just nurse led. And we always want you and what your wants are at top of mind, okay? All right, so Catherine's gonna get into how Trusted works in 5 steps.
Here we go. Okay, we just got 5 steps for you. So going from your trusted profile all the way to being on assignment. When you're creating your trusted profile, we really try to make this as self-service as possible. So there's a dashboard checklist and it will walk you through everything that you will need. What you see is what is being sent to the manager. So it's a good idea to keep that clean. If you're adding any bullet points, just try to limit them to any kind of like special procedures or special units you've been floated to show that experience and specialty. There's no need to include things that are standard on that normal kind of unit. As far as references go, that's kind of the only piece that you don't really have control over. Obviously, whoever you're getting to be your reference, they will complete that on their own time. So just keep that in mind and request them as early as possible because you don't want the perfect job and match to come along and then risk it closing because we're waiting on those references, right? So really good to get those going as soon as possible when you're looking for a travel assignment. As well, if you have any health documents in the onboarding process, every facility has their own requirements, right? And so if you have any of those documents before you even accept an assignment, like immunizations, TB tests, fit tests, that kind of stuff, it can be helpful to just upload those beforehand, and it can sometimes help expedite that onboarding process, which is what we all want so we can get you on assignment. Then as far as job matches go, all you need to do is enter your contact info, your license info, BLS, and education background to view matches. So each match page, there's a little snapshot of it on the right there, and it'll lay out the hospital details, the location, the shift, the pay, as well as any special requirements like certifications or experience. And that's all just there and available for you to see at your own convenience, which I find really nice. When I was a traveler, I didn't have that. I had to kind of wait for that information to be sent to me. So it's nice that you can kind of just access that on your own time, even if it's 3 a.m. at a night shift. The start date, keep in mind, it's always a target start, but the actual start date is negotiated usually at the time of the offer. So generally, if you want to start, basically, we have about a 4 to 6 week window before or after the listed start date on the match to submit you. Ultimately, it will be up to the hiring manager to decide if they can approve that start date. Then for kicking off your job search. So once you've completed your profile and it's been reviewed, you'll be introduced to your nurse advocate. So nurse advocates are all nurses, they're all registered nurses, and most of them have travel experience as well, which is really helpful. They really kind of get what that experience has been like and what you're going through. Typically their hours are normal business hours, 9 to 5, but they're also throughout all time zones, so that can vary slightly. They're reachable via call, text, or email, but usually text is the quickest. They have teams that help them as well in the evenings and on weekends to get you submitted quickly. So because of our hours, that may not be communicated in real time, but those submissions can still be happening even during non-business hours. Once you request the interview, we work to submit and we'll let you know as soon as we need anything else. And otherwise, you can just trust that it's in the works. Sometimes there's a lot of steps that go through here, so there's delays that we run into, but we try to keep you updated as much as possible along the way. And then for onboarding. So onboarding starts after you sign your contract. we kick into onboarding mode right after that. So you'll be paired with a compliance specialist, and they're super, super awesome. We have an amazing compliance team, and they work really hard to make the onboarding as painless as possible. The requirements usually vary based on the facility, but they typically include this list shown. So things like background checks, drug screens, competency exams, fit mask tests. Again, varies by facility, but that's kind of a standard list. Again, if you already have any of that documentation, it's good to upload that as soon as possible. And if it meets the facility's requirements, then we can just use what you already have. And then being on assignment. So when you're on assignment, we have an entire care team there to support you and answer questions. Also assigned is a clinical success partner. So that's me. We are all also registered nurses, also mostly with travel backgrounds, who can help you navigate through difficult situations or help facilitate extensions and just answer questions, and just celebrate with you if things are going great, which hopefully they will. To talk a little bit about our care team model. So that is one thing that is different about Trustin that I just absolutely love being a part of. So the care team model is kind of a nod to the interdisciplinary team that as nurses we have at the bedside to ensure that you're supported throughout your experience at Trusted. The care team is a group of travel nursing and facility experts who each specialize in a different part of the travel nursing journey. So once you've completed your trusted profile, you're ready to begin interviewing. Like I said, you'll meet your nurse advocate, who's also a registered nurse, and they work with you through that job searching process and to get you your perfect travel assignment. Along the journey, you'll also be supported by a care coordinator, and they are there to answer general trusted and travel questions, as well as a compliance coordinator to help with onboarding, as I spoke about earlier, and then a clinical success partner who's another nurse to help you while you're on assignment. So we really do this so we can have as much coverage as possible, so that you're not just relying on one person to answer questions all the time, and you have an entire team who's there and ready and super eager to help you out. So that's the care team. That's 5 steps with Trusted. So I think now we've got some Q&A.
Yes. All right. We have one. No, I believe that's how you say your name. This is a really long part of the question, so I'm just gonna write your career ladder. How should you gain a skill set to get off the floor, and where do I get these skills? Go ahead. You can go ahead if you want to, Catherine, or I can get to Spinner.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I'm just reading through the question too to make sure I'm answering it.
Yeah. So while Catherine's reading it, so what I would suggest is one, if you're re-entering the hospital and you would like to actually switch your specialty or anything like that, something that I did, and this is a personal experience, I actually worked in a step down unit, and I really wanted to get into the ICU, but I actually wanted to get in the PICU, which is where my home specialty is. I actually entered a new grad program. So they had a huge career fair where I actually entered a new grad program, but I actually what I did is I sold myself as, an experienced nurse. And what happened is they actually allowed me to go in through their program and actually train to learn the ICU skills that I needed, and to also, learn everything from the ICU perspective, but not at like the length of time as a regular new grad would. So if you have a new grad program around, or a switching specialty program, some hospitals do offer those. As well as if you're already within the hospital system and your manager from your old unit or anything like that, see if they'll also put in a good word for you. I know that a lot of people transfer units and attempt to get those skills that they're looking for so they can travel in, because that was also my goal. My goal wasn't to travel in, regular med surg floor or anything like that. I wanted to travel in the ICU as well. So I that's how I transitioned. But one, selling yourself, using those skills that you do know, believe in yourself and believe in your abilities. If you doubt yourself and you doubt your abilities, a manager is going to doubt you too. Okay. So whether it be refreshing your skills, maybe volunteering or shadowing, in an ICU, I know that helped me. I shadowed and then got, to know the unit and the people on the unit. And then I was offered a job. So there are a lot of different ways that you can go about it. But specifically for your town, your area and things like that, I'd have to know a little bit more, but those are like the overall general kind of things that I could offer you. Catherine, do you have anything for or him? Sorry.
Yeah, I think this is such a good question. I've taken extended breaks away from nursing before and come back to bedside, and it's an anxiety-inducing experience. One, I would say it's usually once you're in the situation, you know more than you think you know, and you'll slip back into it. At the same time, I do think it's important to keep in mind as a travel nurse specifically, you are expected to really catch on quick and to be able to jump right back into things. So I think Britt had some great ideas there about maybe doing some shadowing or some volunteering before at least jumping into like a travel assignment if you are feeling a bit like you need a bit of a refresher. I think that's a great idea just to ensure that you can step into whether it's a staff job or a travel job, really feeling confident and feeling like you can just take whatever comes. But I think oftentimes it does come back more quickly and easily than we think.
We promise you got this, okay? And you have people here supporting you, so don't feel like you're alone or anything like that, okay? And if we didn't specifically answer your question, and we need to hit on another topic in that question, no, please write it again, okay? We're here to help you, promise. Do references expire? So they actually are on a yearly basis. So if you have them, already for that year, they do expire within a year. They do need to be renewed. But if you guys, what I suggest is what I did when I was going to different hospitals. If you have a charge nurse that, you're really cool with, or, one of your coworkers, or even the manager at some of the units, make sure before you head out that you get that reference, that you get that contact information. So you have it whenever you do maybe, switch assignments or that year is coming up. So you're already prepared and ready to go. That's what I usually do, is just keep that contact information with me. So then I'm never worried about, oh, I need to find this person or I need to go do this or that. I always just have somebody like kind of already ready in mind. And then also before you leave that hospital system, say, hey, would you mind actually being a reference for me? I'm going to go now to, I don't know, Idaho. So I was just wondering if you could, vouch for what I've done for you all at my hospital. And then also the reason I also suggest this is also it still creates that line of communication with that hospital you left, because you never know if you want to return. You may love it. That may be your favorite hospital that you go back to. So if you keep that line of communication open as well, that also can help for, you getting another assignment with them, or going staff if, you so choose. But yeah, just keeping that open line of communication is good.
Yeah, 100%.
So Catherine, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but how many facilities is Trusted established with? We're in all 50 states. So I don't know about the finite part of that. We're in all 50 states. We have a plethora of hospitals. We're always acquiring more. We're also, if you're looking for something and you see it from somewhere else or another company, always flag it, always send it to us. And if we don't have it, when I tell you we'll try to get it for you, we're pretty savvy that way. So I'm not sure exactly the number, but we're definitely in all 50 states and in like all the major hospitals. I know just in LA alone, we're like in most of them.
Yeah, I think the number is so dynamic that we honestly, I couldn't keep track of it even if I was told every single day. But what Britt said is a great call out, in that if we don't have like options there right now, and you've seen options like travel assignments posted with other agencies, but you want to travel with us, you can always let us know. And we are literally always trying to make new partnerships and stuff to give our nurses the biggest and best options available. So yeah, absolutely reach out with that information if you have it.
Can you negotiate hours for assignments? For example, instead of 5/8 during interview, as as for 410s, or does that look bad?
So I think with this, honestly, sometimes I think it happens that you might arrive on a unit that they have 510s, or 5.8s, they have 410s, they have 312s, and they kind of are cool with switching in between. Generally, I would say if you're submitting to a job and it's saying 410s and you don't want to work 410s, I would flag that in the very beginning with your nurse advocate and just be like, hey, I'm really interested here. Would this be something that we could negotiate? I would flag it before you even get to the interview stage so that the nurse advocate can also be asking those questions on our end so we can get you that information and see if that's something that's viable to move forward with, or if it would be better to look into other options.
Yes, your profile is your friend. You guys, so when you start creating your profile and you start to try and get those matches, you always want to list those special requests. That is where your NA and you will work together to get you what you want. Say you're in school and you need to work a different schedule, or you need Wednesdays off or whatever. That's where you should put those special requests. So your NA is aware and knows. And then when they do submit you for the job, they can actually convey that to the manager. And then when you do get the interview, you can also touch base again with the manager, but just make sure you put everything up front if that's what you would prefer. So nothing is always, so I always say, yes, you can negotiate certain things, but just as long as you're up front and with what you need and your needs, we can try to figure things out. Now, will it be guaranteed? I can't say that. That's totally up to the manager, because as you guys know, we are here to serve the needs of the floor. Just so you have that in mind, okay? How many travel assignments does someone need to do for insurance benefits?
One. I mean, you can sign up for benefits at the start of your first assignment with Trusted. We have a really great benefits package. So if you elect to opt in for our benefits, those are going to be from day one of your assignment. You don't have to earn those. You've earned those by being a nurse and working.
Congrats. You have day one insurance, guys, with Trusted. How much say do you have in your schedule? For instance, I do not work 3 days in a row. I would require 2 in 1. So this depends. So like we just said about putting your special requests in before you submit for the matches, but then also on the other caveat to that is with your manager. Yes, like I said, you are there to help the needs of the unit. But if for your mental health reasons, your body reasons, whatever, if you can't work 3 in a row, that's okay. You can sprinkle them and things like that, but you just have to be upfront and honest and open with your manager and see what they can work with you. I've had people work only weekends. I've had people work, 1 on, 2 off, 1, you know what I mean? Like, you can kind of finesse what you need. But it also depends on the unit. Like I said before, some units have self-scheduling. So then you can schedule yourself, in whatever way that you need. And then other units don't. Other units, we put you on this and kind of deal with it. So as long as you talk with your actual unit and whomever makes the schedules, that's what I always try to err on the side of caution with. That is just talk to your actual unit when you get there, and before you get the interview, just so you guys are on the same playing field and you guys are well communicated throughout the board. That's what I always suggest. Catherine?
Yeah, I think it's also really important to recognize that sometimes managers have a lot of interviews and they don't remember what they've agreed to and what they haven't. So I always say, if it's something that's really important to you, like block scheduling, or like you can't work three in a row, I always ask for that to be approved and added to the contract notes. Because ultimately that will be what is gone back to for reference. So if it's something that's really important to you, I would definitely emphasize, like Britt said, being upfront with that, and also seeing if that can be approved by the manager. Like, let's just add that into the contract notes so that's easily verifiable, and we don't have to say, oh, well, this was agreed to at this time, but then there's nothing that we can reference, So I know it's really helpful on our end too with advocating for y'all when you're on those assignments, and it's not, maybe if it doesn't shape out, like the schedule is different from what you were wanting or what you had agreed upon, it's really helpful to have that in the contract as well. So Also recognizing that a lot of facilities expect flexibility. So like Britt said, some of them are like self-scheduling. It totally depends on the manager and the facility. But yeah, if it's really important, I always recommend seeing if it can be added to the contract.
Perfect. Are there options for two nurses to travel together? Yes, 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 yes. These are things that if you all let actually your nurse advocate know, they will actually do what they can to make sure that, you know, you guys can get your assignments together and they are aware of that. But I had one of our other team members actually traveled with 4 girls. So yeah, so they always got assignments together. Couples travel together, families travel together. So yeah, that's definitely an option. And what I'll do also for you, Makiba, is I believe we have a blog article on that exact thing. So I will link it when I send out the recording for you. Do you want to add anything, Catherine?
That was great.
Pay rate. So this is okay. Why would a job be paying $17 to $19 an hour?
Like if that's like a match, I'm guessing.
That can't be on our site.
It's usually so the way that pay packages with Trusted are created is like trying to put as much in tax-free stipends as is allowed and compliant with GSA guidelines, state law, all of that kind of stuff, like tax laws that we need to be in compliance with and that you need to be in compliance with. So it's always about putting as much there as possible, but also maintaining an appropriate hourly rate for an RN. So yeah, that can look.
Or an LPN if that's what you are too.
Or an LPN. Yeah, totally. Because we work with a lot of LPNs too. So either or, but that's kind of how sometimes it's split up different agencies do that in different ways.
Yeah, usually if you see that, it's most likely just look at the other stipends exactly like Catherine said, just to see if it actually rounds out and is it like a normal package on the other end of the side. So that's why. But if you need more in-depth information on that, like if it's a specific package or something like that, we'd be happy to help you. If you want to actually like email me, we can try and figure that out. Because sometimes also we do have, I don't want to say glitches in our system, but like sometimes, you know, things are different or we can actually break things down for you. Just if you're not understanding like how they're broken down, we'd be happy to help you with that as well. Can you travel close to home? As in like a local contract? Yes. Do you want to add more colors to that, Catherine?
Yeah, most of the time, what you're going to see on the match pages are going to be travel contracts and travel pay packages. So just keep in mind, you can always just ask the nurse advocate, hey, would this be possible as a local contract? And the pay will be different, right? Because there's no stipends and things like that. And there's also other kind of stipulations of local contracts, and different hospitals have different like regulations on how far constitutes like local or travel or whatever. So it's kind of dependent on the match, but you can always reach out to your nurse advocate and just ask, hey, I'm interested in this one, but I'm within however long, or I would want to do this as a local contract. I do not consider myself eligible for stipends. So what would that pay package look like? Is that possible? And then they can kind of go from there and get those specific answers for you.
And also of note, I was actually on a call with someone the other day, and they called about this exact thing about they actually ended up moving to the city or state or whatever, and they needed to change their tax home. So they actually changed it to a local contract just for tax purposes. So also, like, if you guys, like we said, if you need help with anything, just reach out. We are here to help. And, you know, if you're confused or anything like that, and you're not sure and you don't know, you know, we never want to get anybody in trouble with the IRS. So we will make sure that you guys, you know, have the right things set for you guys. Okay. How long is it? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we've got some great links and resources too of tax professionals that specialize in like travel nurse tax that are super helpful if you haven't traveled before and you want to just make sure that like all your ducks are in a row.
Travel Tax or Travel Nurse Tax is a good website as well. We always recommend that. And I'll link that article as well for you guys too. How long does it take to onboard if I'm a Canadian nurse?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the onboarding, I'm not sure if the onboarding would necessarily be a longer timeline for you because it would be more dependent on like the facility's requirements and stuff. So I don't think it would be much different than the standard, but that might be a question that we can follow up on.
Yes. For Canadian nurses, we do work with a lot, so don't be discouraged or anything like that. We have a lot on our roster. So just know that if you reach out to your care team that's within your profile, they'll be able to actually help you answer these specific questions like that. Just because there are some different documentation and things like that that we have to just make sure are aligned and everything like that. But after that process, it should be smooth sailing. But that is just if you'll reach out to your care team that's on your profile, and I'll also flag it for them as well to get you some more answers. But it really should not be any longer once you have all your documents and things like that in. How do travelers arrange travel contracts right in their home city? Is there a requirement that I sever employment with them for 3 years or 5 years?
As in like at a hospital maybe that they've worked at as a staff nurse?
Is that what you mean? No.
Sometimes facilities do have rules about if you've been staff there, you have to wait a certain amount of time before returning as a traveler. So that's totally facility specific. I would say if you see a match for a job at a facility that you've worked at before, just like, again, reach out to your care team and they can ask all those questions for you.
Do you require a certain number of assignments a year? No. One thing that's so amazing about traveling, travel nursing, is that it's go at your own pace. You choose your adventure, you choose where you want to go, how long you want to do it for, when you want to stop, when you need a break. So no, we do not require anything from you. This is all in your hands. So that's why I personally love traveling so much. I've taken months off, I've taken, weeks off, I've stopped for a while. So literally you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's the best.
Do most hospitals use Epic? No, I wouldn't say most. Yes, a lot do, but it's all widespread. Honestly, I've used Meditech, I've used Cerner, I've used Epic, I've used, what is the Allscripts, child? I've used them all in all different hospitals. So no, not all hospitals use Epic, but if they do require Epic, you will get training on it. So when you arrive to a hospital for your onboarding, they actually give you modules, and they also give you most of the time, if you haven't had Epic training, they'll give you a little bit of Epic training as well to make sure that you're competent and that you know how to chart and things like that. As well as when you go on the unit, you also have a preceptor, and they can also show you how your unit specifically charts, because how like the ER is completely different than the ICU, which is different than the floor. So usually you'll get, even Cerner, Meditech, all the other ones, you'll also get a little bit of training as well. And then when you're on the unit, you can more specifically ask like your unit-based charting system questions as well. Do hospitals often cancel your contract last minute?
Hopefully not. I don't think that's a common occurrence, but it does happen. I always tell nurses to keep in mind it is, that's one of the ways that traveling is a bit different. Facilities, their needs might change or whatever might happen, and they might cancel an assignment immediately. I've never experienced that personally. I don't know if you have, Britt, but I don't think it's like a very common thing. But it can happen, obviously.
It definitely can happen. It's never happened to me. But rest assured, one, if it does happen to you, Trusted will work to get you a new assignment. Do not fear, we will work to get you a new assignment. And then a lot of times, if something is going to be canceled, we are aware and know. But we will, like I said, we'll make sure that we can do like what we can. But in these COVID times, it's very unlikely. Most hospitals are asking for more, are, as you guys have seen, like the rates and stuff go up. So it's really unlikely currently in our climate. But don't think that it hasn't happened. That is a thing. But like I said, we will work, to do everything to get you a new assignment. Okay.
Yeah, like if a facility has low census, like, and they need to cancel, you know, ultimately like nothing you can do there, but what we can do is try to expedite the process in getting you into a new assignment as quickly as possible. Especially if we've worked together before and we already have a lot of your documentation, that can make that process a lot easier. So that's 100% priority for us. We're not going to leave you high and dry.
So Eric, we actually discussed this in the beginning. I'm sorry you missed that portion, but I'll try to like overview it quickly. We are different because we actually do not use a recruiter-based model. Our NAs are actually advocates. They actually are just advocating for you and whatever you need and whatever you want. They do not act as anything else. We actually have account managers that are separate. The NAs are not based on commission, which is similar to the recruiter-based model. We do not have that model. So they're not paid, extra if you get an assignment with us or anything like that. And Catherine, do you know how many nurses each NA has? I'm not actually sure on that.
So I think potentially that's a bit of a nuanced answer, because basically your nurse advocate is not your sole support during your trusted journey. So, you have an entire care team. So it's not about like who owns which person, if that makes sense, because you have an entire team. So, I don't think it's not like a static number of I have this many nurses that I'm, it's not like a recruiter in that way. So it kind of just depends on, like, I think the way that it's distributed in the nurse advocate world is that like every time there's a new nurse that's looking for a job, they'll get assigned to this nurse advocate. The next one will get assigned to this one, but this one might not actually be wanting a job right now. And this one might. So it's not really like a clear-cut answer. But yeah, we have a whole care team. So it's not just one person.
Yeah. So we actually support you in many ways other than just our NAs. And yes, the NAs are nurses. So I'm a nurse, Catherine's a nurse. We work on separate teams. We're actually not NAs. I believe that 20 to 25% of our company are nurses. So you'll kind of see them all sprinkled throughout your journey with Trusted. So that support system that you have is sprinkled in with a lot of nurses. So even if your NA will be a nurse, yes, but even like your care coordinator could be one. You know what I mean? So we support you in a myriad of different ways.
Yeah, we love, like, the more nurses at Trusted, the merrier. So the two teams that you will know are registered nurses 100% are going to be your clinical success partners and your nurse advocates. We are all registered nurses. Clinical success partners are here to support you during your working assignment, and then nurse advocates during the job search. But as Britt said, across teams, across departments, we have nurses everywhere. So it's not really like those are the only places. It's kind of also everywhere.
What, in your experience, is the best way to acclimate to a new floor?
Ooh, I think honestly, my biggest priority when I stepped onto a new floor as a traveler was to just be friendly and like show people that I'm there to help and support. I think, obviously it's a different kind of thing than when you're walking in as a staff nurse and you've been working with, these are like your besties, So, and no one can do nursing alone. It's just not a solo sport. So I think my biggest priority, obviously, like super important to learn the charting, super important to learn how that unit works, but also just to show those nurses, like, I'm here to help. I'm here to help you. And, I want to be a part of the team. I think being a team player is a really important thing as a nurse in general, and especially as a travel nurse. So my priority was just really trying to show that as early and as much as possible, I think, when I would step on a new unit.
Yeah, I would definitely plus one all of that. My hugest things are supply room. Like just know where your supply room is, know where your supplies are, knowing like what they do and don't have in the rooms and things like that. The second is know where your policies are. I like completely understand, this is the way we did it here, there, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter when you go to a new unit, you have to know what their information is. So knowing where their policies are, a lot of times they will be online, but just so just in case you need to refer back to anything. Because I've gone to a lot of places that don't do a lot of things the way that I've learned. So just, where your supplies are, know where your policies are, as well as know who your resources are. Just like Catherine said about being friendly, a lot of times you might go somewhere and the charge nurse might not actually be the person you go to. It might be the resource nurse, or it might be actually your buddy, or someone that's maybe 2 doors down or whatever. But just kind of learning how to acclimate to like how they operate and who actually you're supposed to call for things or who's supposed to help you with things. That's always proved super helpful for me, is actually like knowing who and where my resources were. Just because you never know what's going to happen. Stuff happens all the time. Like, and you don't want to be like, oh God, I didn't know where, what. You're always going to be that because you're new and you're, on a new unit. But if you at least know like, hey, I know this is a number I can call. I know this is a person that I can call. That always helped me out, just to feel a little bit more safer too.
Yeah. I think knowing your resources is huge, and knowing that it's okay to ask for help. Like, yeah, you're a traveler, but again, it's a team sport. Like, asking for help, asking these questions, like in the very beginning, no one's expecting you to know the supply room code on your first day on the unit, So just like being really upfront and asking all those questions, and, just taking note and figuring out how to find that information yourself, I think really sets you up for success.
My favorite line is, I'm the traveler, I don't know. I'm sorry. It proves well every single time, because they know that you don't know. And they actually love that, you're not coming in like high on your horse thinking that you do know everything. I think that like being a little bit humble, yes, we are badasses and we know what we're doing, but also when you come to a new unit, you kind of have to set that aside a little bit and say, okay, I'm in your world. Let me learn from you. You know what I mean? Like, I think that puts everyone at ease as well. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Does anybody else have any last questions or anything we didn't answer or cover for you guys? We're here to help, literally. One thing I didn't notice is nobody asked any housing questions today. I'm surprised. Normally everybody asks a housing question. So you guys got it. Airbnb, Furnish Finders. I got you guys, man.
Everyone here is a pro.
Well, if you guys are good to go, then we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. This recording will be going out for, those of us who missed it, or those of you who actually, had some AV issues or anything like that. And also, like I said, feel free to reach out. Do not feel like you have to go this alone. There are a plethora of travel nurses at our company and just throughout that we can help you with any questions or any, anxiety or anything you have. Okay. We're here to help. We've been through it. And we also are standing tall in it. We loved it. And we want you to join the team. Okay. So we hope this was helpful for you guys, and just let me know if you need anything else. Thank you so much, Catherine, for joining us tonight. You're a gem. We appreciate all the answered questions, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.